Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, in this episode, what we're going to do is set up our basic windows, our basic window for Windows to run on. If you haven't already watched, this comes right after the first video on this channel, which was the What is Manifest Destiny. You should go watch that first if you're interested in knowing where we're going with this whole thing. If you're just interested in the coding, well, this is where you're going to start, I guess. Okay, I'm using Visual Studio 2022. This is the free version. I think it's called the community version now. It used to be called the Express version. You can go get that from the Microsoft site if you want to follow along. I believe the last time I looked, now this has been a little bit, but the last time I looked, C++ is not included in the Visual Studio by default anymore. You have to actually go get the extension. So make sure you have C++ enabled. When you do it, I don't really remember the process. If you guys really want me to go through how to get and install Visual Studio 2022 and get and install the C++ module, I will. Just let me know. I mean, I can do that for you guys if it's something that you want to see. But presumably you guys know something about programming and have this already set up. So anyway, let's go ahead and start this project. Now, I'm not building this from scratch. I'll pull this over here so you guys can see. I've already got this built. I'm not going to do any of my coding from scratch, hopefully. I'm going to pre-build it, and then I'm going to recreate it for you guys on this side. That way I'm not fumbling around too much. I know what I'm doing. I know that it works and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and create a new project. So we will start with creating a new project. And what I want to do is we want a Windows desktop. We're going to do a Windows desktop app wizard. This is the one that I want. If you do application, that's one. You could do that, but you're going to get a lot of extraneous stuff in there. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the wizard. So let's go ahead and use that. The project name. So we're going to go under, well, let's set up the thing first. You can see build 1 is where I put my original code. The first build that we're going to do. So I'm going to go into build 2. That's going to be you guys' folder. We're going to call this Manifest Destiny build 2. So there's the location. We're going to put the solution and project in the same directory, and that's all good. Create that. Now it's going to ask me what I want. Let's go ahead and do a desktop application. Empty project. We want to make sure it's an empty project. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And there you go. There we go. So if you look over here, we can open up references. There's nothing in references. All the folders are empty. There's nothing in any of these things. So it's completely blank, totally blank project. Of course, if we run it, it's going to give me a linker error, or it should, I think. Give me a linker error because there's no WinMain. Yep. The system cannot find the file specified. It's not really a linker error. It's a Visual Studio error, I guess. But anyway, there you go. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. What I'm going to do is go to Project, and we're going to what are we going to do? Project. There we go. Huh. I guess because I didn't have this selected, the solution selected. Interesting. I didn't know it was like that. Okay, whatever. We're going to add a module. I'm not even going to build a class today. We're just going to build the why is this taking so long? Jeez, come on. We're just going to build the regular external stuff, non-class stuff, I should say, really. So we're going to add a C++ file, and we're going to call this WinMain, which seems reasonable. And that's the location that I want it. So let's go ahead and add that. Okay. Now I bet you we get a linker error if I try to build this. Let's see. Yep. There you go. There's your linker error. Unresolved external symbol, WinMain, referenced in function, int, etc., etc. Okay. That's what we wanted. I mean, that's not what I wanted, but that's what we got. Okay. In order to do this, we're going to need two functions. right? Remember, the goal of this episode is to create a window. Let me just say, we're not going to be using that window, at least not initially. What I want to do is use Direct 3D, and we're going to just go full screen, at least for a while. We may later on add in a windowed mode, or borderless windowed mode maybe. But for right now, we're just going to do full screen. So this window is really not going to be used for anything, but Windows needs a window to run upon, right? So you have to do this. So we're going to need two functions for this. The first is the startup function, the WinMain. So there's various formats for this that you can use. I'm going to use int WinAppy. WinMain. And then the parameters. We need an H instance. Hang on, before I go any further with this, before we do that, let's do this. Include windows.h. That way it knows what I'm talking about when I say things like WinMain and WinAppy and all that sort of stuff. Okay. We're going to call this instance. Okay. Let's talk for a minute about my programming style. Previous instance. You're not going to see me use Hungarian notation ever, almost ever, pretty much never. Here I sort of kind of did WinMain. That's just because that's what I think it's expecting with this particular format. I think I could use just WinMain like that. But I tend to write WinMain just out of force of habit. Yeah, I will not use Hungarian notation ever. If you like Hungarian notation, then more power to you. I don't like it, so I don't use it. So this is a long pointer to a wide string command line, and then we're going to use an int command show. Okay, these are just standard parameters. We're probably not even going to be using most of them. Another word about brackets. I know brackets are a big deal for people. It's a very personal, very what's the word, political sort of thing. Use whatever brackets you want. I happen to like this style where there's an indent. You'll see what I mean when I get more into it. I can read this. I think it's very clean and readable. I know a lot of people like to do this kind of thing. If you like that, fine. I can't read that. I can never figure out where the brackets are. I mean, I realize it tells you, that the compiler tells you it's got this little dotted line for that kind of thing. But this I can totally read. To me, this is the cleanest code there is, and it's kind of an old school styles code, but the way I like it. So, but by all means, use whatever you like. Okay. In order to show or to create a window, we need three functions, right? So let's go ahead and talk about those three functions. We need a register class, and I'm going to use RegisterClassEx. We need a create window. And also, again, I'm going to use the extended version of that. And then we need ShowWindow. Those three functions, right? That's what you need to create the window and show it. Yeah, that's what we need. In addition to that, we're going to need another function in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and write it in just so that we have it available. And it's going to return an L result. And it's going to be a callback function. And we're going to call it WindowProc. And we're going to use, it needs a handle to window. We'll just call that window. It's going to need a unsigned integer, and that'll be the message. It's going to need a W parameter, and that'll be the W param. And it's going to need an L parameter. That'll be the L param. Param. Okay, and this needs to return a value, so let's just return 0 for right now. This also needs to return a value, so let's return 0 for right now. Okay. Let's just see how things are going. I'm going to comment out these three because they're giving me errors. Let's just see what we got. That should resolve most, if not all of our errors. And we're good. Just like that. Well done. It works. We're done. Wasn't that a fun game? Okay, let's put back in our functions and get this this window put together. Okay, RegisterClassEx requires what? It's a fairly simple function. It requires a reference to a window class. So we'll just call window class. Now, of course, the program doesn't know what window class is, so we'll give it a window class. So WND class, EX is what I'm extended is what I'm going to use, and window class. There you go. And register class is done. I wish. Okay. So let's talk about window class because it hasn't been initialized yet. We're going to start off by just clearing it out. You may notice something that I'm doing right here. A lot of people would do this right here, just like that. And that's fine. If you want to do that, that's totally cool. You're going to hear a repeating theme from me about keeping code uncluttered and clean. That's one of the ways I do it. I don't like using initializer lists like that. I like to have them separate, the declaration and the initialization separate. And you'll see kind of why I do that as we go. So window class EX, first of all, needs a CB size. And this is fairly easy to do. You just do size of window class. It just needs to know how big it is. I think it's an internal Windows thing. I don't really know the exact reason for it, but it is what it is. Okay. I need a long pointer to a function process. That is going to be this one right here. And that's going to be the name of our callback. So that's WinProc. Okay. The next thing we need is an H instance. H instance. And that's just going to be equal to our instance. That's easy enough. What else do we need? We need the class name. Okay, this is a long pointer to a string. I think LP is long pointer, SZ is string. I don't really know what the Hungarian notation is for that. But yeah, it wants a string. So you could just put in like L window or whatever, right? I think it would take it. Seems to be okay with it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it an actual variable. So we're going to call this window class name. Perhaps not absolutely necessary, but I like to, keep it clean, keep it from doing too many things at once. But of course, we need to know what that is. So we're going to do a string, window class name. Now, of course, it's not going to know what a string is because I haven't put it in yet. So let's go ahead and include their strings. String. And that should take care of that. I think. Unless I misspelled it. I did. Include. There you go. All right, that should take care of that error as soon as the compiler decides to fix it. I'm a little confused. Oh, I know why. Right. Because of this. Sorry. That's why it doesn't like it. Now it'll like it, because we had to put in the standard string. Okay, let me talk about that for a second. This, to me, is clutter. This whole thing right here, clutter. This annoys the crap out of me. Again, I'm going to go back to my whole thing about clean code. make it clean. This is just clutter. This is making it harder to read this line. Okay. Now I realize it's just for what, five letters, big deal. Well, if you got this strung all through your code, it's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to fix that by using a namespace like such. And then you can get rid of these. Now I know you guys are not going to like it because this pollutes the namespace. Yeah, big deal. I don't care. I don't care. If I get a collision, I'll fix it, but I've never really had problems with collisions with the standard namespace, at least not in my experience. And if I do, I'll just rename my variables. It's not that big a deal. But it makes this nice and clean, right? This is the code, and it's nice and clean, right? I can read this very easily. Okay. Now we have a problem here because this is getting a string, and what it wants is it's getting a string, and what it wants is a series of characters, right? So there's a function for that in string, and that is cstr. Just returns the string of that. Now, still doesn't like it because this is a wide string, I believe. So yeah, it's a long pointer to a wide string. That's what that Hungarian notation means. LPCSCW means long pointer to wide string. And this is not a wide string. This is a regular, what are they, 16-bit string? I can't remember what they are. Anyway, let's fix that by just changing that to a W string. That makes that a wide string. That makes this a wide string, and everybody's happy. Okay, I know we complicated it, but we could have just written it in manually. But now I've got a thing. I don't know why that W is not coming up as a. There we go. Of course, I do have to initialize it. So window class name equals L, and then my window class like such. Doesn't matter. I don't think this appears anywhere, right? I don't think it actually shows up in anything. So there you go. That's all done. Then one more thing we need for window class, and that is the cursor equals, we're going to load the cursor. The instance is just going to be 0. The cursor name will do IDC, I don't know, cross. We can do arrow. We'll do cross for right now. Maybe I'll change it to arrow later. In fact, maybe I'll change it to arrow now. IDC arrow. Yeah, let's do arrow instead. I like that better. Okay. And now register class should be happy. Hopefully. Okay, that was kind of the tricky one, right? That was one that requires the whole lot of stuff be put into all this stuff. If we go ahead and build this, everything should be okay up until we get to the first error, which is going to be in CreateWindowEx, which is fine. Okay. All right. Create window extended. This one is fun. Okay. The first thing it wants is a handle to the window. Okay, so we are going to we're going to say no, you can't have a handle to the window. I think that's its parent window. We don't have a parent window, so I don't need to worry about that. Then it wants okay, then yes, okay, sorry. Then it wants a long pointer to a string, which is going to be the class name. We've already talked about the class name, so window class name, and this is the advantage of having a variable, because I can't screw this up. If you like typed them in manually, you have to make sure that they absolutely match. So in this instance, I don't have to worry about that because I just use the variable that I used and I know they match. The window name, this one we can just put in window. It's no big deal because it's not coming from anywhere else. The style, so we want an overlapped window. Overlapped window. We're going to OR that Whoops, don't do that. What was the, there it is. Happened. Or that with, try it again, a window style visible. Like such. That's all we need for that. Now for the XY width and height, I'm just going to use the CW user default. And I'm just going to copy that 4 times. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Okay, so we've taken care of the XY width and height. Now we need the parent window. There is no parent window, so that's going to be a 0. We need the H menu. There's not going to be a menu, so we just put a 0 in for that. The H instance is just instance. That's the instance from our parameter list. And finally, the W parameter, we don't need one, so we'll put in a 0 for that. And we're done there. Very nice. All right, show window. For this, what we need is the handle to the window. So we've got that, right? Oh, actually we don't. No, sorry, never mind. I forgot to change that here. So window equals that. We will say HWND, handle to the window, like such. Okay, you'll notice my variables are up here. They're all out of the way. And then they're defined down in here. Again, I understand that people like to put them down here so that they can see them really fast. I don't need to see them really fast. I mean, I can hover over it and see what type it is if I need to. Usually I can tell what it is just by reading the name. If you properly have created your names, you don't even need to use Hungarian notation, although, you know, for Windows stuff, it's fine. Sometimes it's useful. But I can tell what things are just by the well-named variables. So there's nearly no need to have this down in here cluttering up the code. This is nice, clean code. I like it like this. It makes me the happiest when it's like this. You can put this down here if you want to and clutter up your code and make it harder to read. That's your call. Me, I don't like that. So anyway, getting back to what I was doing, we need the handle to the window, which is going to be there. And you need the show command. So in this particular case, we're going to use, what is it called again? SW show. And that's all there is to it. All those functions are fine. We can go ahead and run this. It should work. Undeclared identifier. Okay, yeah. Okay, we've got a warning and an error here. We have an undeclared identifier. That's because as the compiler is running through this, it sees this. And it says, hey, I don't know what that is. And then later on, it comes down here and says, oh, there it is. But it's not smart enough to go back and say, oh, we fixed that. So you need a forward declaration, basically, is what it's saying. So we can go ahead and put that there as a forward declaration. And there you go. That takes care of that error. We shouldn't have any problems. We don't. We do have an error list. We have a inconsistent annotation. We'll deal with that in a while. I'm not going to deal with it right at this minute, but I will deal with it. Always deal with your warnings, guys. Warnings are there for a reason, and you want to make sure you take care of them. That way they don't clutter up your little warning or your little error area. Okay. A quick comment. Am I recording? I'm just checking to make sure that everything's recording. Okay. Gosh, we're already 25 minutes into this video. Okay. You may notice that I'm not really commenting anything. That's because my code is nice and clean and doesn't really need comments. My code tends to be self-commenting. Now, if you really want to, you can come in here and put in a comment. Initialize the window class structure. Sure. I mean, you know, if that makes you happy, go for it. I can look at this piece of code right here and know that's what I'm doing. I don't need to put this comment in. That's, again, just cluttering up my code. I have nothing against comments if they're necessary. Don't get me wrong. I do believe in commenting code, but I'm not going to comment every single last little line. That's just ridiculous. If you can self-comment, or if your code is self-commenting, then don't bother to clutter it. That is something that I learned over the years as a professional coder. You may disagree with that. That's fine. Be my guest. Okay. There's some stuff in here that we want to do, but I'll save it till later. It's not absolutely critical right at the moment. Right now, we just need to get a window up, and then we'll worry about what happens if things don't work. So for right now, what I need to do is set up our message pump. So you guys have probably seen this a lot of times. I'm going to set up an infinite loop while true, and we're going to use peak message, not get message, peak message. Whoops, I hate when I do that. Peak message. If you use get message is blocking, and since we're using Direct3D, we can't have a blocking function in the while loop. That'll cause Direct3D to stop working and your program to hang up. You need peak message to let Direct3D run while the pump is going, right? So anyway, peak message needs a message, so we'll put that in. It also needs an H handle to the window. We don't care about the handle to the window, so I'm going to put a null pointer here. Then it needs a filters. I don't care about that. We're just going to 0, 0. That'll take that out, and then we're going to do PM remove. So that'll make it act like get message, but it's not blocking. Now here we've got a problem. Message, it doesn't know what message is, so we'll go ahead and stick that up in here. MSG message. There you go. That takes care of that. Okay. All right. Let's drop down here. Now, you guys all know the drill. If message dot message. What did I do wrong here? I forgot the semicolon. Why is there a squiggly? There should be no squigglies. Okay, yeah, let's make sure this is right. Message.message equals window message quit. Then we break out of the loop. And why did you just do that? Don't do that. Don't change my indentations, you rat bastard. Okay. So if the message is quit, then we break out of the loop. We return 0. Okay. In fact, if that happens, I'm going to put a little message to myself here. And we will, again, be coming back to this later on. But for right now, I just want to say output debug message successful run in a line feed before we exit out of the program. Okay. Now, if we run this right now, it'll go into an infinite loop because there's no way to get a WM quit message to the message pump from here. So let's not do that. So we did our message. So now we just need to translate message, and it's just a reference to the message that it needs, and dispatch message, not dispatch message W, just dispatch message. And again, just a reference to the message itself, message, and there you go. And that's everything we should need, I believe, for that function. If we go ahead and build it, we get a successful build. We could run it. It's going to go into an infinite loop because, again, there is no way to break out of this loop right now. But you can see the processor memory is stable. The processor time percentage is about 6.25%. I think it's because it's using all of my cores. No, sorry, it's using all of one core. Which what is 6.5%? 15 cores. I'm not sure that's right. I'm not really sure where it's getting that number from, actually. That's because we don't have a sleep function in here, and you know, that's fine. I don't care. Let's break out of the infinite loop. So yeah, this is all working well. we do have this warning that we got to deal with. Should we deal with that now, or should I wait? Let's we'll wait. We'll come back to it. Okay, let's deal with the window proc. Basically, the window proc is a switch statement, right? Switch message. Okay. So there's a couple of different things. Case, window message, close. We just destroy the window. And we'll use the window handle to do that. It was passed window. Did I spell that right? It was passed to us through the parameter list, so that's fine. And then break. Cases have never really worked the way I want them to do, and I can't find anything in the options to make it work the way I like. So they always indent a little bit further than I want, but whatever, it's fine. Let's also do case WM destroy, where you've destroyed the window. I think I did these in alphabetical order, that's why they're like this. But anyway, here we want to post a quit message and just say 0. And also break on that as well. Perfect. Okay. And then there's a third case, WM key down. We're going to do key down. That's right. We're going to do, we're going to catch a key. And then we're going to take a switch on that as well. So that's coming from the W parameter. So if you don't know, guys, the window is the window handle. The message is the message that was received. That's these things. The W parameter and L parameter are just parameters that are dependent on this message. In the case of a key down, the W parameter is going to hold the key that was pressed. Okay, so that's the way that works. Case virtual key VK virtual key escape. Damn it. Every time. Okay. In this case, what I want to do is just destroy the window. Destroy window. If you hit the escape key, the window is destroyed, and then we break out of that. And then let's see, right here. No, right here. Sorry. We break out of this as well. Don't change my indentation, you rat bastard. Is that right? Should be. Oh, that's not right. It's here. That's where it should be. It's just inside this case bracket, right? Yep. All right, very nice. One more thing to do with the switch statement. This one right here. So if we hit a different key, I think it's just going to break out. I think we're fine. That's what this break is doing. So if we hit the escape key, should fall into this. Yeah, it should be fine. I'm just making sure what happens if we hit a key besides the escape key. Okay. Final case for the switch statement is the default. In that case, we're just going to return default window proc. That's all we need. And this just makes sure that the window behaves like a window, like you expect a window to behave. And it just takes all the parameters, right? And that is all. And this returns 0. And I think that should work fine. And we should get a window. Let's find out. Unless I've forgotten something. And there you go. There's your window. Very nice. I don't have a close button though. Hit the escape key. That works. The program manifests as you build Disney has exit with code 0. Successful run is right there. Perfect. Why do I not have a... Oh. Is this put an EX in for me? That's not right. Overlap window, WSV. Okay, now I think we're going to have a close. There we go. There's your functions. Okay, and it's called window. That's coming from this right here. Okay, it behaves just like a window behaves. We got the ability to resize it. It's not redrawing. And in fact, I'm stuck on it now. There we go. It's not going to redraw because I didn't tell it to. But we could have it redraw, but I'm not going to bother. Okay, and there you go. That's everything that we need to get this working. Okay, a couple of refinements that I want to make. Do I want to? I guess we can do this. Even though this is kind of superfluous, the Windows message handler. Yeah. WinMain. You know, sure. We can comment those. It's fine. I don't really care. Okay. Couple of little things that I want to get done here. There's a little bit of messiness up in here. Things that I'm not super extra fond of. We can get rid of some of that. What I'm going to do is go into project and add a module and add a header file. And again, we're going to call this WinMain. We could have done this all at once by putting in a class. I mean, you know, sure, but we're not really building a class. We're building like the outer function, essentially. Okay, you can see that it's already put in pragma once, so that's awesome. We'll leave that there where it is. That just tells the compiler. You know, it replaces, if you don't know, it replaces that whole if-def thing that we used to always have to do for header files. Now it just has a pragma. It's only going to include it one time. I'm going to take all this stuff up in here and just copy it out and drop it in here. That'll fix that. The other thing I want to do, as long as I'm in here, is I'm going to define this stupid Win32 lean and mean. That just takes out some of the networking stuff that we're not going to be using anyway. So it's going to clean up a lot of our references, the external dependencies. So we got a lot of external dependencies. This is all coming from Windows.h, or most of it. Some of it's coming from string. It's going to get rid of some of the lesser used stuff that we don't need. If we end up needing it, we can always add it back in, but we don't need it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. We can build and see if this shrinks any. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. It should have, but I don't know. You know, there's a lot of sub stuff in here, you know? So who knows? Obviously, it should have. Otherwise, there's no point in putting that in, but I don't know if you can really tell. So yeah, there you go. We've cleaned up all that. So this is much more clean. It's basically two functions. Just because I like to be able to easily see the places where my code functions start and end. Oops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. What did you just do? What did you just do? I think I screwed something up. I don't see what it is, so I'm gonna fix that. Oh, I know what I screwed up. Sorry. Everything's fine. Nobody panic. Why are you doing that? Stop it. Pain in my butt. Okay. Of course, we have to include now WinMain.h for it to pick up that stuff, right? So don't need two quotes at the end. That's ridiculous. Okay. Let's go ahead and make sure that all works. And it looks like it works fine. There you go. So it's cleaned up. Okay, one more little thing I need to do, and that's to deal with failure cases. So let's go back to do this. This register class can fail if not register class windows. So let's go ahead and put an output debug string. L quote register class failure return get last error. If you don't know, get last error is a Windows thing. It just gives you a code that you can use to look up to see what went wrong. If you know, this will set a code, and this gets that code, and then you can look up how come my Windows class didn't work, and it's a good thing for Google. Okay, let's talk about this one. If not window, in other words, if window is still a null pointer or 0, we'll do the same thing. Output debug string L quote CreateWindowEx failure. You know what? I really should put an EX in here as well, because that's what we're calling. Okay, and then return get last error. Okay. ShowWindow should not fail. I've never seen ShowWindow fail, so I don't know if there's a error for it at all. It's so reliable. So I don't know. It's a Boolean, so I guess it could. If not ShowWindow, and we can do the same here. I'm just going to copy code. I don't actually know if this sets an error. ShowWindow failed. ShowWindow failure. Window failure. There you go. I'm not sure that actually sets an error. I'd have to look it up. Let's see. Does it set an error? Let me just look at. If you're not sure about stuff like that, you can actually go here, right-click on it, or hover on it, and then search online. It's kind of a useful little tool. Let's see. Type of int. It's not a type of int. It's a type of. Okay. Return values. The windows are previously visible. Was previously hidden. Return value is 0. Yeah, it doesn't really fail. If the window was previously visible, the return value is non-zero. If the window was previously hidden, the return value is 0. So there's not really a fail state. So that really shouldn't. I really shouldn't probably do that. Come to think of it. So let's take that out, because that could lead us down the wrong path. So yeah. Okay. There you go. We got our error states in. Everything should work fine. Looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy. It's not a bad idea to change over to your release build and build that. Make sure that that's working okay as well. That looks fine. And also the x86, same thing. It's not really a bad idea to rebuild them. Make sure everything is working fine. Make sure you're getting a successful run in all cases. I have had issues, guys, with my antivirus blocking programs from running. If you get a compiler, not a compiler error, if you get a compiler, if the compiler itself pops up a box that says unable to run this or something like that, check your antivirus. Usually when I do programs, I will add my program directories to my antivirus whitelist because it will screw with it. And then you'll get weird errors and you won't know why. So it's just easier just to turn them off for that particular directory. Make sure it's not messing with your builds. So looks like we're good here. Let's see, did I get everything? I'm going to go back to debug in x64 mode. I think I've gotten everything. Let me just double check and make sure we are synced with my original code. I like it. I think we are. Everything is here. So, yep, that looks good. And this looks good. I'll drop this over here. Yeah. I think we're fine. I think we're good. Okay, there you go, guys. We've got our first milestone complete. Window is working, and I can't let go once I've got a hold of it. That's because I'm not handling all the functions that I should be handling. I'm supposed to be handling. But that's okay. We got the escape key. That's fine. I think it's fine. There we go. It's a little bit wonky, but that's okay. Like I said, we're not really going to be using that window for a while. When we use it more, we'll come back here and fix this. Also, these output debug strings, they're fine for kind of a real quick and dirty check on your stuff. We probably want to, at some point, put in a logging system that's actually going to drop down to a text file, because, of course, if this is running on a client machine, they're not going to have the compiler here. They're not going to see this stuff. You want a log for errors. So we'll do some sort of logging system at some point. It's not a super high priority, but it is something that we need to get done at some point. So we will deal with that, sometime in the future. It's not the most fun kind of code to do, but it is necessary. So we will get that done. Anyway, okay, guys. I'm pretty happy here. I think this is good. I think this is a good stopping point. So yeah. Damn. Okay, sorry. One more thing that we got to do. We got this warning to deal with. I did almost forget this. Okay, this warning. What it's saying is there's this, and I forget what they're called. There's this thing that they have, and I think it goes in here. It's like this. So you have to do the in like that. I think that's how that works. And I think this one is a in opt, if I remember right, which stands for, I think, in optional. And this is a in like such, capital. What this is doing, and this is also an in, is it's supposed to tell you what your parameters are meant to be. These are all inputs. This is an optional input somehow. I'm not really sure how. Yeah, now if I build this, I believe it will work. I will not get any errors, which I don't. We can run it. It's fine. Yeah, we just cleared our error. But look at this, guys. Clutter. Clutter. What have I said about clutter? This drives me crazy. This kind of stuff. I mean, yes, these are all inputs. Who cares? Who gives a rat's bloody... drives me nuts. There may be a way to turn these off. They don't really show up except in this Windows declaration, so I just turn them off by putting a prefix on this. This is also annotation. I shouldn't type and talk at the same time. This is also clutter, but it's not as bad. There's probably a way to shut that off, or I could just tell the warning to go away, like manually, and say delete that warning. In the header file, I think there's a way to do that. But since this is the only place I think we have to do it, I'll just use that. It is clutter, but at least it's not cluttering up my parameter list. And I can ignore this. So this should also work. If we build this, we'll get 0 errors. And there you go. That's fine. And then we can run, and everything is good. Okay. That takes care of the warning that we were getting. Now we're done. Now I think we've got everything. Okay. I'm going to stop here. I think we're at a good stopping place. In the next programming episode, I think we're going to start setting up DirectX and getting Direct3D set up and running. I don't know how far we'll get. Just depends on how much I do on my little, my build one. How far I get with that. But yeah, we'll get that going because that really is the next step, is to get Direct3D started and running. Let's fix those. Yeah. Otherwise, I think we're good here. So yeah, sounds good. I think we will stop here and we'll pick this back up in the next episode. So I will be seeing you guys then. Thanks a lot.